this is a bit of a side story to the Tikka build, but one major part of it is I'm going to be painting the stock. So let's take a look at how I'm going to do that tonight. And right off the bat, I've already got the cheek riser holes plugged with just some foam ear plugs. I taped off the inside here where I don't really want paint. I'm going to have to end up actually rasping out an amount of material out of there for the bigger barrel. My barrel won't drop into that pre-cut slot. On the bottom side here, got into all the details, covered all that up. I don't want to change the dimensions there, so I'm just going to I taped it off so that I don't mess it up. I scuffed the stock with some Scotch pad. This stock is a little bit textured. We're going to go out in the garage and degrease it, and then we're going to lay down our base coat. It'll be nice and light. I've put a small piece of string through the swivel stud up front, and I'm going to use this little tiny shackle here to hook it onto some paracord, and we're going to suspend it from my garage ceiling, and we're going to start spraying it. So, degreasing it, we're just going to use some brake clean. I'm going to spray it off and then wipe it down with a paper towel. If you touch it after you degrease it, the grease on your hands will have grease on it again. So, don't touch it once you degrease it. Okay, now the way that I paint my rifles, the first coat that I put down is basically going to be the color that you see the least of, because we're going to keep layering on top of it with different colors, and that will show different designs. So I'm actually going to show the least of desert tan on this one. I haven't done one in like a darker brown color, and that's what I want to do here. So we're going to end up with small stripes of desert tan. So we're going to start off with this as our base coat. We're going to go nice and light. We're still going to be able to see black through it, and it should work out great. So let's get started spraying this. See how you can still see black even where I've painted? You don't want to go too heavy, that will cause runs and look bad. So start off nice and light, take as many coats as you need. Don't forget the tip up top, down each side. Notice I'm keeping my distance quite a bit, that way it doesn't layer on too thick at once. Not a whole lot of the paint is actually getting on the rifle. So here we go, now it's kind of starting to block out the black. Stock and right down along that tape line of the butt pad. Okay, I'm going to take this inside because it's actually cold where I'm at. So we're going to take this inside, let it tack up and dry a little bit before the second coat, and then we'll just keep going from there, and I'll show progress pics, and we're going to jump to putting all the vinyl on it in a minute. And that'll be really interesting. That will tell us how our design's going to turn out, which even I don't know how it's going to go. Okay, just finished up my second coat of this desert sand. So because we're doing a bunch of layers, it doesn't really matter that this isn't completely perfectly covered. You definitely want to try and get it as covered as you can, including up top or down bottom, however you mount it. Just try and get into all the little places that you need to be. So now we're going to go mask off the areas that we want to be desert sand. Anywhere you cover with stencils is going to be the color that's showing at the moment. So once I put a stripe across this and I paint it with a different color, when I remove the stripe, it's going to show desert sand. Keep that in mind. All right, quick update. I am hand peeling off these vinyls, and I'm laying them on the stock. So anywhere you see these white stickers, it's going to appear desert tan by the time I paint it all and it's done. So with the cool cheek riser here, because it's actually going to be separated from the stock, I made it appear as if the pattern was painted together. But as I rise it up, the pattern will match. So we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully it's cool. And a little subtle detail, I used a different color vinyl for this. WDS, West Desert Shooter. I ran it by a few people and they all were on board with it. Let's flip you guys back over. So W2S, it's low on the right hand side of the gun, so if I don't like it, it won't bug me too much. But we're wrapping some vinyl around kind of the grip area. This one runs quite a ways around, and so does this one. This is the bolt side, so this is the right side of the gun. Stock is sitting upside down, clearly. And we're gonna flip over to the other side and continue our work. The idea on this one is not a crazy amount of desert sand. And towards the nose on this side has quite a few. But this side's not got a crazy amount going on around the grip. I put like 3 in a row. We'll see how that turns out. So right now, we're actually going to change basically the whole look of this thing. And we're gonna lay down some lighter brown. So let's go ahead and blast it. And there we go. Now the rifle is a light brown. It's super glossy right now, but it will dry into a matte finish. This is the first coat. I'm gonna take it inside and let it tack up and dry off, and then it's ready for the second coat. Then we're gonna put on a few stencils and switch colors. Isn't that right, dog? I just wanna do a few select areas with OD green, so I'm actually gonna choose my specific areas that I wanna paint. This spot right here is one of them. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Okay, now we're gonna go let this dry to a nice dry amount. We're actually gonna apply more stencils. Then we're gonna hit it all with dark brown, and then we get to remove all the stencils and see how it turned out. Okay, second coat of light brown is done. You can still see the stencils, so when I remove that, that will be light tan. And this one's gonna cover up the OD green, dark green I've got going on. So you can see kind of just a normal faded stripe. So I'm actually gonna repaint this light brown again, just over the green areas. So this way when I repaint it, when I peel off this stencil, it will be green. And also on the rear of the stock, I did a little bit of green back there. So there's gonna be a few green spots, nothing too much, but should look cool. Then we're going to add the next set of stencils, which will be a lot of fun. All right, so here's the final deal. I'm actually gonna paint anywhere that's exposed dark brown. So anywhere with this desert tan vinyl on it is gonna end up the light brown. So these green spots are actually going to be in the dark brown. Hopefully they'll show themselves pretty well. This vinyl doesn't like to stick to the spray paint at this point, which is actually a good thing. That way it doesn't peel off the paint when I'm done. But around the corners, like going down into the mag well and where it's inletted, I'm gonna have to kind of pinch it as I paint around it because there is material up top that will be showing. So kind of got to be aware of that. But it should be a pretty wild design. Basically going to be light and dark brown stripes with little designs all throughout it of desert sand and a few OD green. So I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but I started with the lightest color and then I moved to the darkest color because dark colors cover up lighter colors easier. It's just kind of how it works. So on that last coat, I only ended up doing one coat of that dark brown and I think it looks pretty good. So let's take this cheek riser and we'll start removing some of the stencils. And this is the cool part where we get to see how the design turned out. I actually pulled off the white stencils as well. So right here, we've got dark brown with a light brown stripe, and then a desert sand design right in the middle of the light brown stripe. Over here, should have some more desert sand. And this time it's actually in the dark brown. So we're not done painting yet, so leave the tape on areas you don't want paint to get on, like the little metal bars that go into the stock here, because we're going to do a matte clear coat. I found out with these paints you have to clear coat them to keep the oils out, otherwise your paint job ends up getting destroyed. So let's actually start peeling off the big areas and see how our designs turned out. The reason I don't want my rifle black like it originally was is because when I shoot in the summer, it absorbs a lot of heat and it actually warms up my gun pretty bad. And putting your face on something black in 100-degree heat, isn't that fun? So let me try and adjust my lighting here. So more big stripe removal. And there's a few designs down in here as well. It's a good place to have an X-Acto knife. However, be careful because you don't want to scratch the paint underneath it, because it's all fresh paint done just within the last few hours, so it definitely hasn't cured. It's still pretty soft. So I'll keep removing stuff. I'm not going to bore you guys with the whole thing, and then I will show you the finished product after we clear coat it. Well, there we go. What do you guys think? What do you think of the new paint job versus the old paint job? What do you think of the black versus what I did? Did I ruin what I have, or did I make it better? It's not exactly supposed to be camouflage. I more just do this because I kind of like the process and it's fun to do, and I like a unique rifle. So this is definitely one of a kind. Usually as I do these, they kind of grow on me over time. Like when I first did the Tikka, it wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but over time, and kind of looking at the design and kind of starting to recognize what it truly was, that was actually a pretty good camouflage if I was out in the tall grass of the desert, and I really started to like it. I liked the colors, I liked how it blended in, and I think it did pretty well. I will be changing the scope, so don't worry. I'm not changing the scope, I'm going to repaint it or just take it back down to black and leave it that way. It won't be this weird desert tan on top of the brown and dark brown and military green, because it doesn't really go with it. So don't worry about that, I will be changing that. The WDS turned out okay. Looks a little weird. Looks kind of like it says wuss or was, whatever. I know what it's supposed to be. The reason it's all kind of janky and crooked is I'm supposed to use transfer tape when moving vinyls, which holds the design together, but if I were to try and do that, it wouldn't stick to the paint. So I'm sure that it wouldn't have, and I kind of had to move individual pieces and stick them on there by hand, so it wasn't really going to work out. But I just use cheap spray paint. I mean, if I scratch this thing, I'm not scared to scratch it. I can just repaint it, and I can do a whole new scheme if I feel like doing that. Or I can just try and take it back to what it was. I really can't lose much. All into this camouflage pattern, different looking rifle pattern. I think it was like $12. I mean, I used 4 different colors: light brown, dark brown, green, tan. There you go. Pick whatever color you want, pick whatever design you want. If you want some stencils, I can help you guys out. I have a vinyl cutter available at the moment. So if you want a pack, I actually have a 12 by 12 square that I jam full of different size and design little elements like that. So if you're interested, let me know. Not a big deal. I'm selling them for a couple bucks for a square foot. So appreciate it, guys. Let me know what you think. I will let you know what I think later on. I kind of need some time to look it over and decide what I like and what I don't like, and I'll kind of let you know. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you guys later. Appreciate you watching.